Hey y'all, welcome to Savage Strategies. This is Annie Reed with AnnieReed.com, where we give you daily tips to improve your ministry, nonprofit, or for-profit business. So today, the very first thing that we wanted to discuss was something that we do on our onboarding process, because it is something that we feel it is essential for anybody to do on a yearly basis. And that is analyze your data. What does it look like? Now, I'm going to be talking about a ministry in particular today, or for ministries in particular today. But if you have a company, just substitute the word donor for customer, and you're essentially getting the very same thing. So we onboarded a ministry. And the very first thing that we started to ask them was, do you have a CRM? Like all of your data into one hub? Which of course they had a hub, but not all of their data was imported into it. So they had a lot of Excels, Google Sheets, and a handful of Word documents, but not all of it was into this hub. And that really makes it very challenging for us when we're asking for specific data. Again, this data is something that you should be analyzing on a yearly basis. Honestly, probably more, especially if you have a development officer or a fundraiser on staff. But what you want to know is, what is your donor retention rate? What is your major donor prospects for the year? Or do you have any major prospects? What are your lapsed donors? What is your reoccurring donations look like? And what are your reoccurring donors? Is there an increase or decrease in any of these areas? You see, for us to even get started with you, like for instance, this particular client wanted to raise $300,000 in 6 months, we need to know how realistic that is. Are they on par to reach their goal for the year? Do they have a longer list of lapsed donors than they do reoccurring donors? Because this is extremely vital for us to be able to understand how healthy the nonprofit is, the ministry is. So there are 5 reports that I want you as a ministry personnel, as a pastor, as an admin, as a development or fundraiser, even as a marketing individual, to go and search right now as a CEO. Again, everything that I'm saying can be used for a regular company. I need you to go tell me, what does your donor retention look like? How many donors have donated this year that donated last year? The average is around 40-something% right now. I have seen it up to 75% in my expertise, or in my experience. I've had it up to 75%. Now, what does your donor retention look like? What does your reoccurring donors look like? Again, if you're a company, what are your reoccurring customers doing? You know, do you have customers that are purchasing from last year to this year? It's slightly different than your donor retention rate, because these could include one-time donations, but what you want is reoccurring donors. Then what are your lapsed donors on your list? And if you have a bigger list, a longer list, I want to know what your lapsed donors look like over time. What are your major donors for 2024 or your current year? And what are your major donor prospects? Now, I'm going to tell you tomorrow how to analyze some of this data, and we're going to go piece by piece. Because again, this information is going to be vital for you to understand, are you down in donations? And if you are, exactly where? So before you even try to fix anything, you need to narrow down where the problem is. And if you are increasing in donations, what are you doing right? You know, if you have more 20% above the donations that you did last year, is it your major donors? Is it your recurring donors? Because that's where you need to focus a lot of your efforts and time. So join me tomorrow as we analyze the data that is going to tell us the health of your ministry, nonprofit, or company.